Friends, thank you for spending your time on a Sunday afternoon at this event and joining our presentation on True and Fair Professional Network. I am Balaji. I'm a chartered accountant and the founder and managing partner of True and Fair Professional Network. Today, incidentally, is our 51st day of operation. Okay, we are a very nascent firm, but with coming with a lot of thoughts and ideas which are already in the process of being implemented. So we believe that whatever services we are talking of today, we will be able to launch it by March 23. The tool is under development, policies, contents, everything has been created, and it will get completed by March 23 is what we hope to achieve. I think we will be on track for that. We are getting the sort of support of a lot of CA firms. In fact, even in this event, as we walked in and attended in the last 3 days, 2.5 days, so many firms have volunteered to help us develop our product, saying that we can do the pilot, we can do the content reading and give you inputs, etc. We are very excited about the collaboration which is being sought in this atmosphere. It's fantastic. We feel very privileged to be working with this community of chartered accountants. So just to give a background about myself, I was a partner with Deloitte for 28 years in the audit practice in India. Last 12 years in my career, I took a retirement in March 22. So last 12 years of my career, I was in quality, risk, practice protection, internal inspections and regulatory matters. So whatever True and Fair is trying to do today is something which I've learned over the 28 years term in Deloitte and more intensely in the last 12 years. So a lot of practical experiences coming in from that perspective. But you don't need to be worried that is it going to be a big four product. Definitely no. I know the pain points and pressures of a small medium practitioner, and therefore this will get aligned to substantially what the small medium practitioners need without any compromise on quality. Okay, without any compromise on quality. We had the fortune of having Mr. Alan Johnson, president of IFAC Western Australia today. I explained to him briefly what we are trying to do, and he's happy with what we are trying to do. So that is a good sort of he didn't feel that we are doing off track or doing something, incorrect. He was very happy with what we are trying to do. So he said that that's good, go ahead. Congratulations. So that's what he told. I'm going to jump a bit on the presentation itself. I also have the fortune of having a fantastic advisory board for me. So I have two advisory boards. One is on the strategy side of things and one is on the audit technical side of things. Why the strategy side of things? When I looked at the global market, there is no equivalent firm like True and Fair. Because if I look at a Deloitte or a PW or a KPMG or a EY, all of them provide quality policies, guidances, everything, but that is only for the Deloitte firms, not for everybody. There is nobody who is offering these services on a common platform to the chartered accountant fraternity at large. So I am a very unique firm in that sense. That comes with a lot of concerns and challenges. Because simple thing, so many people have asked me, what is going to be your pricing? I don't have an answer to that. Okay, for two reasons. One is, I don't know the cost I'm going to incur, because today our product is being developed in cloud and I'm still in discussions with the cloud service provider in terms of what costs he will need. Okay, because they are coming with their various interpretation models of cost. We are trying to find out which is the most optimal model for CA firms. Second is, my cost substantially is going to be a fixed cost that has to be spread across users. I don't know the number of users. I don't know whether 100 firms will adopt it, 15 firms will adopt it, 200 firms will adopt it, 1,000 firms will adopt it. I have no idea. So to me, to fix a cost, I'm actually struggling. Okay, and I don't know the appetite. I have some reasonable sense of the appetite of the small and medium practitioners in terms of this, but the priority they give for quality, I don't know. Because you're all running businesses compelled to do certain things and you may not fully subscribe to certain things which I'm saying. But for me, that is very essential to be complied with. And therefore, it's going to be a bitter pill to swallow, but firms which are willing to swallow will definitely get the benefit. But I don't know how many firms will be willing to swallow that pill. So that also I don't know. So I got a strategic advisory board which will advise me on how to approach the market in this scenario, including international markets, because what I'm developing today is capable of being taken to every English speaking country, because the standards are all aligned, accounting standards are aligned, auditing standards are aligned. So I should be able to take it to every English speaking country, but therefore which markets I should take to, how should I position myself in those markets, I have no idea. I'm getting a very strong advisory board. My advisory board will have TV Mohandas Pai, I'll have Suresh Senapati, former CFO of Wipro, and PR Ramesh, who was former chairman of Deloitte India. They'll be advising me on the strategy side of things, including on pricing for the Indian market, etc. They have their thoughts and visions. I would like to get the benefit of all those thoughts and visions. My technical advisory board will comprise again of eminent people. I will definitely have PR Ramesh, common between strategy and technical boards. I'll have Sai Ram, chartered accountant, former head of quality and reputation risk in Deloitte, India. I'll have Dr. Ashok Haldia, former secretary to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. MP Vijay Kumar, former chairman of the Accounting Standards Board of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and Harinderjit Singh, former head of quality, National Technical Function in Pricewaterhouse India. So I'm getting a lot of eminent people to guide me, and they are not practicing now Big Four. They are all independent people. You would have heard Ramesh asking some very pointed questions yesterday. This is not a Big Four question. That's a question intended to the fraternity, CA fraternity. So I'm getting all their advice also as I'm developing these products. Therefore, I'm pretty confident that we will come up with, I personally am very confident that I'll come up with a set of quality standards and documentation processes which are going to exceed even the Big Four. I have been in a Big Four, I know what they are doing and what I want to see as an improvement there, but there is a global change there. It's very difficult to change things in the Big Four so easily, that too out of India. So I know what I'm creating. I think I'll be able to take it very, very eminently. That is the background in which we are doing this. So when I left the firm in March 22, one of the questions which was put to me was, what am I going to do post-retirement? I thought I'll chill out. Then my partners all came back and said, Balaji, you've got so much of experience in audit, quality, risk and practice protection. Why don't you transfer your knowledge to the CA firms in India? Because my experience, if you look at the crisis matters, I have been involved right from Satyam till ILFS or even later. So I have seen what has happened, how the regulators have looked at things, what possibly could have gone wrong in those engagements. I can convert all that learning to a knowledge to the audit firm so that when you practice and encounter situations, you will know better how to do things. And I don't want the knowledge to reside with me. That is the whole purpose on which we have started this venture. And my mission and vision are very, very crazy. My vision is to be viewed as the standard setter for audit quality. I want every firm to say, okay, if you are following this, you have reached quality standards. That is what I want to achieve. That is my vision, and I'm very, very confident that I'll achieve it. I'm very, very passionate about what I'm doing. I'll ensure that I'll guide and support the CA firms to achieve that particular threshold. Now, why is this required? I'll jump some more actually. India is possibly opening up to a joint audit market. So in a joint audit market, the biggest concern I had when I was in Deloitte was, if I am Deloitte and a joint auditor comes, I don't trust the joint auditor in terms of quality and documentation. So I'll end up doing 100% of the work, but I'll get 50% of the fees. I'll carry 100% of the risk also, because joint auditor, something goes wrong, even I'll get called in for scrutiny. By the time I extricate myself from the scrutiny, even if I've done the right thing, it is going to be taking me a lot of time and effort and energy. So I'm going to be in a significant disadvantage as a Big Four firm if a joint audit scenario comes in. Therefore, as a Big Four firms, the Big Four firms are very categorical and clear in saying that, understanding that, they will endorse any firm which can stand up to quality. They will actually go and tell the client, please appoint this firm as the auditor because we are comfortable with that firm. You don't need to go and market yourself. The Big Four will market you because they are so desperate, they are worried. Because tomorrow if something goes wrong, the headline news will not talk the joint auditor. They will say Deloitte failed, EY failed or PW failed. They are very worried about that. They are very worried about the reputation risk. Therefore, they are looking to somehow make sure that the joint auditors have competence scale. So in a scenario where true and fair firm comes in and I have connects with all the Big Four, I can go and articulate to them what my quality policies are, what am I doing. And if they get a comfort, they will start endorsing these firms. So associating with true and fair can give you market opportunities also if a joint audit scenario comes in. Even otherwise, you will actually be able to go to a client and talk to client with confidence because you are strong on quality now. You have documentation, you have process, you will be able to articulate very well what you are doing. And true and fair can guide you in some of your audit proposals, important ones, to say how you should articulate yourself. Okay. So that is where, but my vision statement is very clear. I want to be the standard setter on audit quality. And towards this, what am I trying to do? How do I achieve that objective? Quality can be achieved only if you are able to invest in quality. When do you invest in quality? When you are starting to make money. When do you make money? You make money only when you grow, when you expand your capacities, capabilities and your quality. Because growth is directly associated with quality. If your quality is bad, you will not grow. So I'm trying to combine these three as my vision to say that this is what I want to create as a model wherein firms can grow. How do I increase your capacity? Networking is the option which I am looking at. We'll talk about networking much later. I'm happy to say that in the stall, when we ask for expression of interest from some of the people randomly, there is an overwhelming response for networking. So I'm very happy that today CA fraternity is suddenly waking up to a networking concept. Why I'm happy about it is because it will definitely bring in capacity. It will give in the geographical spread and the size to talk about. And second is True and Fair will be able to provide a common platform. So when I left Deloitte, I was always wondering how can an organization like Deloitte or a PW or a EY or KPMG be successful? Because in Deloitte, no partner is related to each other. All are independent people. I have not worked with 90% of the partners because I am sitting in Bangalore. I don't know most of the partners in Bombay or Chennai or Delhi or Hyderabad. How am I still successful? What struck me was there is a lot of commonality. We follow common processes, common technology, common training, common methodology. There is significant commonality and a common culture of quality. So if I provide all this commonality to CA firms in India, why can't the CA firms in India be the size of a Deloitte or a PW or a KPMG, at least in India? That was my whole idea. So I am willing to provide a platform of commonality, which then can inherently build you trust, because when you both work together, you don't know each other. How do you know he is following the right practices and protocols? If you follow the same policies, certain level of comfort comes. In addition to that, as a part of our process True and Fair's offerings, we will also be getting into monitoring of the CA firms of compliance with qualities. So when somebody gets monitored, you will know that everybody is on the same scale of performance, because if you don't get perform correctly, then you will get a scoring and you will have to remediate yourself. You will be given time to remediate, and actions, consequential actions can follow. So you can get an inherent trust that a firm sitting in, let's say, Surat or Pune or wherever it is performing the same as what is being performed in Bombay or Bangalore or Chennai. So there will be a lot of consistency what will be achieved in this particular model. So I am willing to provide a platform for firms to collaborate. I am willing to monitor compliance with the policies to give confidence to each of the other network firms, even though you don't know each other technically, to be successful in your collaboration. Okay, that is the whole objective with which that is being accomplished. We are also intending to launch a program for training for the audit firms as well as chartered accountants. So audit firm and chartered accountants will come in one bucket. Then I also want to do a training program for the upcoming chartered accountant. Because today what happens is, when I was in Deloitte, when you used to recruit a person, he will have no experience, training, nothing. He has come from a small firm, small area, etc. When he comes into Deloitte, suddenly it's like a mountain. And Deloitte sits and trains the person. 6 months, 1 year, they'll train the person. At the end of 1 year, that person will quit and go. So the cost of training for every organization is very high. We want to sort of take on that cost of training. We will train people who are upcoming chartered accountants and make them available to audit firms. If a person does well in our training, we will give scores for that. Those scores can help him apply to larger firms to get an opening opportunity. We will collaborate with the larger firms and build a training curriculum model such that it fits their requirements. So that this person, when he recruits and goes and joins that firm, within 1 week, 10 days, he can start actually working productively. So that is the whole idea. And so today, currently my firm is pretty small. We are 6 partners as we speak, 7 partners as we speak. 2 more will be joining in January and April. But out of that, except for Brinda, who is my technical partner in terms of developing the audit documentation tool technology, all the others are chartered accountants with Deloitte. We are all formally from Deloitte. We have worked together in Deloitte. So we are all comfortable with each other. We have experienced a lot of things together, which we all want to share. We share common objectives. So we will be able to bring in a lot of practical real life situations for the training as we move along. So quality improvement, I don't need to talk because there's intense regulatory scrutiny. NAFRA is banning firms left, right and center as they're seeing things. So it's not really helping the cause. So we are working out a model. Most likely it will be online training. But certain modules I want to do face to face. For example, if a person has to go to a client and meet with the CFO and ask questions, we want to simulate the situation also, where we will have some people acting as a CFO and the person comes and asks questions. So we will simulate both. We are working out a model in terms of how efficiently we can do the training. We are getting a lot of conflicting views in terms of how things should be done. But my view is very simple. I don't want to trust anything as Balaji's view or True and Fair's views. Whatever I am trying to do, I want your feedback. This event, what we are participating is to get a feedback from you in terms of what your expectations are, so that we can align and develop something which is why I said this is not going to be a Big Four product. This is going to be a product which can be used even by the Big Four, but definitely by the SME practice. That is, we are very, very clear about that particular aspect. So if we look at
we are live on YouTube, so you want to explain that there is a push button where people can ask questions so that we can take it here in section.
okay.
You may want to say it here.
Yeah, okay. So we are streaming this live on YouTube because a lot of people on Sunday they want to relax at home and watch this event. So we are streaming this live on YouTube. So if there are questions on YouTube, I think there's a push button which can be pushed and questions can be asked through that particular mechanism. So how can true and fair support? We can address all these issues. We can address the increased regulatory scrutiny by bringing in better quality in your audit documentation, audit policies and processes. We can meet with the stakeholder expectations on audit quality. There are some thinkings which are there which we will discuss later because that may really scare you off in terms of what we are trying to do. Possibility of joint audits is there. True and fair can build your scale capacity to take the benefit of joint audits. Diverse and fragmented practice. Yesterday I was giving an example. NAFRA data, if you see, 6,500, 7,000 companies are there covered by NAFRA, which is being audited by 3,000 plus auditors. That means each auditor is auditing practically 2 companies on an average. Which means if you are so diverse and fragmented, where can you invest on quality? It's impossible. And you can never become a large firm. You cannot take advantage of a joint audit market. Let us assume hypothetically, in a joint audit, you manage to win the joint audit of TCS, along with Deloitte or KPMG or who was doing the audit. You will be literally run over and put to shame by the big firm. And that is not a situation as a professional we should be ready to accept. We should be able to stand up to the big firm and say, hey boss, cool, I'm also doing the same thing, or probably even better than you. So we should be able to stand up and challenge the large firms. And if you want to do that, only way to do that is by improving your quality and talking quality. So that is going to become serious business. Large and complex engagements, because of your skills, skill sets, capability, etc., you can bring in. Now, one of the other things I want to add here is, I have spoken with IT audit firms, valuation specialists, forensic auditors, and other specialists. They are all very excited about the idea of true and fair to collaborate and form this network. Because what they are saying is IT audit, a lot of CA firms today struggle on IT audit because they don't have the skill sets. The IT auditors are saying, Balaji, we have the skill sets, we don't have the client. The auditor is saying, I have the client, I don't have the skill set. Why don't you collaborate? You will be successful. Then you can bid for an audit which is not possible earlier. Because last year I remember when I was in Deloitte and the RBI rotation rules came for NBFCs and banks, so many audit committee chairmen reached out to me saying that, Balaji, please give me one audit firm which has IT audit skill sets because we have all moved to IT, sophisticated IT systems including mobile banking. So therefore, we need an audit firm which can validate those things. And I was struggling to find auditors. So that I thought was a big lacuna which was there, and we are slow in technology adoption, that is given. But if somebody has that skill set, why don't you collaborate with them? And I am willing to bring them on board using the same quality policies. You can trust that firm because they will also be subject to monitoring. They will be subject to the same quality policies and process. There will be clear guidelines as to what the responsibility of the audit firm is, what the responsibility of the IT professional is, so that you are very clear on your roles and responsibilities for you to deliver an audit. Okay. In fact, one of the partners who will be joining is an IT specialist who has led a lot of large IT audits, including PCOB engagements. So he will be sort of monitoring this whole process to ensure that the work is happening satisfactorily to the audit firms without exposing risk to either of the parties. So same way, valuation specialist also said, Balaji, we are willing to give any valuation support required because India requires a lot of fair valuation. Today with the regulatory changes, a lot of impairment situations arise. So if they can help you out in all those things, I can onboard on valuation specialists. Forensic auditors are willing to come on board, they are willing to train staff. Let's say tomorrow you all form a network. Let's say 20 firms form a network. You will suddenly find that you have got surplus staff. Because you have pulled in resources now, suddenly some surplus can get created. Now the surplus can be trained for forensic audit. This firm is willing to train people on forensic audit. It's a fantastic firm, one of the leading firms in India on forensic audit. They are willing to train people on forensic audit. I met with them, they are very, very happy with what I am doing. So I can make available all the skill sets to the audit firms which today the audit firms don't have. So that is one other thing which you need to look at. Need for consolidation I have already spoken about. So what are all the things we will do in the process? We will bring in quality policies. We call it SQC manual because it's system of quality control manual. Okay. This will also be upgraded to ISQM1, even though India has not adopted it. We will sort of push it in the next year, that is April to next April 23 to March 24. We will develop ISQM1 also and make it available so that firms can early adopt. You can pull your collar up and say we have early adopted. So it's a good thing to showcase. Then we will come up with the technical guidance. So on all matters of audit, we will come up with a lot of guidances in terms of how to do things in a particular audit. For example, if I have to write a memo, how should I write the memo? What should be the contents of the memo? I'll give a format along with guidance as to what should be there in the memo. How should things be analyzed? How the negative factors should be analyzed, how the positive factors should be analyzed, and what weightage should be given to what. We'll come up with a lot of guidances so that people who know a bit of audit, who can read English, will be able to deliver a fantastic audit using this tool. Your training, therefore, can substantially minimize. You don't need to spend time on training people. The tool itself will train the people. My audit documentation tool. See, today in the market, there are a lot of tools, because a lot of when we started this project, everybody said, oh, there's this easy tool, this tool, that tool, so many tools are there. I said, I don't care. Printa may laugh, but I say I don't care. The reason is, those tools contain only templates, whereas my tool will contain content. It will contain a whole library of risk, possible responses, everything will be there. So you just need to apply your mind to your client situation and see which risk is applicable and start doing your audit. You don't need to think what risk can add in, but if something add in, you have flexibility to add the risk. But primarily population of risk will already be there. And this year we will be coming up with the first version, March 23 version will be a generic IT tool. Therefore, it is not going to be industry specific. In 23-24, we will come up with industry specific audit packs. For example, BFSI will be one pack, manufacturing will be one pack, retail will be one pack, real estate could be one pack, because the risks there are, each of them are different. You have to describe it better. So we will come up with that based on industry. But the first version will be a generic pack, because one of the reasons we are desperate about March 23 is, if let us say joint audits become mandatory, most likely it will be made applicable for March 24. If it is made applicable for 25, it's fantastic. Because you will have the time to showcase in the market at least 1 year of having worked in the audit tool and tell the clients that, okay, I have got this tool which I am working on, happy with this tool, and this tool will have probably more recognition. If 10 auditors say I am using this tool, that tool, then clients will become aware that this is a standard tool which is being used. They will feel more confident. Yeah.
If this joint audit program becomes mandatory,
Yeah.
and due to any reason, a couple of us available here are becoming subscribers to your procedures or whatever.
Yeah.
What kind of hand-holding that you would give in being a joint auditor along with the so-called Big Four and discharging our duties with holding our head high without compromise?
Yeah, so thing is this, see, today we don't have too much of bandwidth, okay, but we are looking to recruit people. See, today my problem is this, exactly, I don't know how much I can invest in quality, because I don't have the resources, okay. Once I know commercially how am I going to perform, there are people who are willing to join me. My partner Srishti was just telling, you just need to say we are recruiting, that's enough, people will apply. I can get a lot of people, there is no issue at all, because I have created an image for myself in the fraternity, at least in Bangalore definitely, where people will be willing to join just like that. Okay, so I can build on scale. Now what we are looking to do training is, even this year as we speak, a couple of firms have already reached out to us saying that they will want to pilot their audit in our tool to see how it works. As a part of the pilot, they have come back and said, Balaji, till last year we were getting jobs of 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs. Suddenly I got a job of 1.5 crores. I have never done an audit of such size. And to me, if I don't do it correct, my whole practice collapses. So can you help me on that engagement on training? So we are doing engagement specific training. Okay, but engagement specific training will be more industry specific, because audit anywhere it's going to be the same. So it will be engagement specific for that particular industry, because that industry could be NBFC, it will be a banking financial services, which will be very unique.
So will you permit us, making more focused, to say that we are trained by True and Fair?
So,
In audit.
okay, one second. Now what I am trying to do is, so let me explain this network. Today, institute rules on advertisement is very clear. You can say A&Co, Chartered Accountants, part of A&A network. These are the three things you can say in your letterheads. Now, I am trying to add one more line below that. A network, okay, mentored, guided and monitored by True and Fair. Mentored, guided and monitored are not prohibited words under the advertisement rules. They are not prohibited words. So, the legal counsel with whom I am talking about, they are saying that this should be possible. Now, I am reasonably convinced, of course, I have talked this to the institute also, saying that I want this to be allowed. Because I am helping Indian CA firms. How can institute itself come and say you can't do this? When the big 4 firms, Deloitte can put an advertisement, PW can put an advertisement. Yesterday they were talking surrogate advertisement. When they are doing surrogate advertisement, here I am taking the facts. And here, just by saying that I am mentored, guided and monitored, there is no real advertisement other than saying that you subscribe to True and Fair. Then it is a True and Fair brand which is getting popularized, not the CA brand. But you can leverage on my brand. That is my belief, but we need to get this sorted out. I am telling what we are thinking. I am very frank. I will tell you where I am today. Where the outcome will be, we will come back to that. But this is the approach I am trying to take. That's all I can say. And I hope that I will succeed.
Will it be firm level or the assignment level?
Which one?
The so-called training, whatever you do.
That is up to the firm to ask. You can say, tell me the whole firm on the audit. I will train on the audit. You can say, train me on this assignment. That means I need to understand the industry and it becomes more industry specific. It's up to the firm.
Firm as well as individuals.
Pardon?
Firm as well as individuals.
Possible. Individuals. Yeah, possible. Yeah, firm means firms comprising of individuals only. No? So, yeah.
How to approach these auditing firms, auditing companies? Is it any facility or information provided at your platform?
Okay, so we will explain the audit documentation tool in terms of how it's structured. There will be a folder for client to put their information in a very secure way, where client information auditor will not be able to edit. It is given by the client. If the auditor wants to work on that information, he will have to move that information to a workspace folder, separate folder. In the audit documentation tool itself, he can't copy, he can't print, he can't take it outside the environment. It will be very secure. Today, one of the biggest concerns which listed entities have is where all their information is going. Today, a lot of information is given by emails. That emails can be forwarded anywhere, anything can happen. Today, last couple of years back, we had so many issues on insider trading. Of course, somebody can take a photo of it on the camera, that's a different thing. But other than that, the information can't go out anywhere. So, we will provide a secure platform for the client to provide the information. So, access to audit specialists I have already spoken about. Training I have already spoken about. Audit quality monitoring is a monitoring we will do to see how the compliance is. And then practice protection. This is also becoming an important area for audit firms, because today the scrutiny levels are increasing. The number of notices which the companies receive are increasing. How do you respond to them? Because that needs a particular thing. Because you want to kill the matter once and for all and move ahead. Because otherwise you are stuck with the same matter for long. So, we can help you draft the appropriate responses to make sure that things move much more smoother than traditionally what has happened. So, that is what we are intending to do there. Now, this is one more thing coming up, audit quality maturity model. So, now that is getting mandatory from April 23, where firms have to go through self-assessment, will be subsequently reviewed by peer review or whoever comes for review. Now, the unfortunate thing in the AQMM is covering core quality matters and also a lot of operational matters. So, if you look at the score of AQMM, there are 600 points that can be scored maximum. Only 176 points are relating to core quality matters. The balance are relating to operational matters. For example, there is a question, do you give staff leave? No, staff leave cannot be quality. I cannot tell anything. You give leave, don't give leave, that is the audit firm's headache. As a quality process, I can't prescribe anything. I can only talk about workload management. We have guidance for that in terms of saying somebody cannot work for more than so many hours. That I can address. But giving leave to staff, I don't know what will happen. I can't prescribe that. Therefore, there is a significant portion of what is there, which as true and fair, we can't address in the quality policies. If I take the 176 points which are available for quality, in phase 1, I think we will be achieving about 120 odd in phase 1 as we come up with the tool. But by September 23, we will score the entire 176, we will achieve, because there are certain things on client acceptance, risk assessment and things like that, which we are going to develop later on. We will be developing from April to September. By September 23, we hope to have that ready. So, by September, we will be 100% compliant with the AQMM on audit quality matters. Operational matters up to the firm, because they are saying, do you have a domain name? Now, domain name and all, you can choose to work on Gmail, you may choose to work on your own domain. How do I control that as true and fair? That is your operational matter. I don't want to get into your operations at all. I want to focus only on quality. That is my whole intent and objective, which is there. Yeah.
That's a question. So you touched upon initially that you will have a library of risk
Yeah.
depending upon the risk the CA firm is used,
Yeah.
and just drill down to what kind of audit procedure the CA firm wants to have.
Yeah.
So you will have few samples as well, probably if you have.
I'll show you the content, draft of the content. One of the sections I have drafted content, so you can see how it will come. Okay. Now, in the audit tool also, we are trying to come up with 2 packs. Okay. One is a small medium pack, one is a large public interest entity pack. The large public interest entity pack will be very, very robust and very, very detailed and very, very compelling. That means you have very little flexibility to delete things there. You have to respond something why something is not applicable. That will demonstrate your thinking audit. Because today what is happening, you will identify 5 risks. Why didn't you identify 6 risks? There is no documentation of that. Maybe it is relevant, but there is no documentation of that. So, but this audit tool will force you to think through all the risks and say what is applicable, what is unapplicable, which means it has to, the planning itself has to be performed at a senior level, because they will only understand the risks. Today we get article clerks to do the planning. That will not work. In a large entity, we are going to restrict that. Smaller pack will have a lot of flexibility, because we know the pains and pressures of smaller entity audits, and therefore that will come in handy in terms of performing the audit. That will have a lot of flexibility to audit. Planning can be done by various levels of people. So it will give more flexibility. So we'll have 2 packs very clearly understanding the expectations and needs of the small SMB clients. Yeah.
Just to add to that one, our further question on that, I think PwC did a good job in terms of preparing a tool after the big debacle.
Yeah.
But one of the things that came with the tool is where do we draw the line with the level of documentation? It can get too excessive, and we can keep documenting things in terms of why certain thing is not applicable, and that's what I've had experience with EY and PwC specifically. There's no such, so it obviously depends on individual who's reviewing that work paper, but it just goes on. I think that's what I've noticed in the last 15 years of my experience, that there's no stopping point.
No. So here the difference, I have not seen the PwC tool, therefore I can't comment about it. But this tool currently, what it intends to do is, it will give you a library of risk and responses. You will simply articulate why it is not applicable and stop it there. There is no further inference or anything which is required. It will stop it there. It will be closed out in the same work paper itself. There is no continuation of that. And even when the work is being performed, there will be a solid data flow of the risk and the procedure to the testing sheets also, so that you will test the same matter. You don't need to recreate anything, you don't need to write anything again. If there's very, very significant data flow. So there is consistency through the file right from planning till the end conclusion. Okay, since the data flow is there, for example, this audit file will not have model audit programs. Because whatever is your risk and response is already your audit program. I don't need to create one more audit program, because a lot of firms do that. They'll do risk response and then create one more program which will talk something else. Then somebody will have to match, why did you do this program when the risk is something else? You will have to sit and explain. We have had this situation in Deloitte. And the risk will not get addressed finally in the whole process. So that we don't want. I have learned through all the pain pressures and all, therefore I am trying to control all those things. There will be reasonable efficiency built into the whole system itself, because the documentation is going to be finite. Yeah. That is the whole intention. Yeah.
The outcome after getting the support from your firm,
Yeah.
the concerned audit firm will be very comfortable in terms of meeting the QRB or the peer review.
Absolutely.
And ensuring that the nil comments from that.
I will be even more greedy. I will be even more greedy. If you follow my audit file, my ADAT itself should be recognized by regulators as a complete audit documentation tool. That means if somebody follows ADAT as intended, by default he gets a pass mark in the inspection straight away. Unless you have willfully violated things or completely negligently done things, which tools cannot control. The intention is, so one of the things which I am planning to do, I have requested PR Ramesh and I have requested Dr. Ashok Alde also, is that can my audit software tool get recognized by institutions like ICI or the NAFRA? Okay, by seeing whatever I am developing, because it's content heavy. Even if I don't have samples put in, somebody reading the content itself will know the quality of audit, because your content is only demonstrating the example. But the situation has already been conceived. So if somebody sees the tool, he should be able to tell how good the tool is, how bad the tool is, because the tool has all the information. The tool has all the information. So my vision is that I don't know how successful I'll be, but I'll make all my best efforts to do that, because once I get those sort of accreditations, then things look very different. And the second thing which I want to do, which is slightly even more crazy, is I want to take this tool to all the big four firms and tell them that you stop doing your tool. Use mine. I don't need my name. Don't even call it True and Fair. Don't call it ADAT. Nothing. Don't bother. I don't bother about it. Use this tool because there will be consistency. Now today, if Deloitte has a particular problem, EY has some other problem, PW has some other problem, KPMG has a fourth problem. Now it's not a uniform problem across the system because the tools are different. Now if the tool is uniform and all of them do the same work, if a problem arises in one firm, it means the same problem arises in all the firm because the tool is something is wrong. I can fix it once and for all and correct the whole profession. Look at the advantage which comes. So I want to take it to the global firms and tell them that I want to do this. I'm all very ambitious about it. I don't know how successful I will be, but I will. My belief is very simple. Unless you try, you don't know whether you will succeed or not. I will try.
So in your initial remarks itself, you said in Deloitte itself you are not able to change. In India itself.
Here there's money involved. No, here there's money involved. No, Deloitte or PW or KPMG or EY are parallelly investing millions of dollars. Now, if one firm invests that, all the firms combined invest only one firm's money, they will get the same product. So, there's significant cost saving for them. So, there is a commercial sense in what they are doing, and there is also standardization. And tomorrow, let's say an inspector like PCOB says this tool is good, everyone will get the confidence and comfort. My idea is this: I don't want to make money out of it. It will happen incidentally, but I want to build a quality. My belief is this: quality always pays. I want to build a quality which will pay. Which form it pays, how much it pays, is indifferent. But I want to make this like that. That is my vision. How I get there, how long will it take, I will work it out. But my path is very clear in terms of what I want to do. So we'll get to ADAT. I'll request my partner Brinda to talk about ADAT. So ADAT is audit documentation and archival tool. It will also help you to archive your files under the statutory requirements, which is the 8-year retention period which is there.
So hello everybody. So these are the functional features of what ADAT offers basically. So it starts with the onboarding through the audit execution. So when we say this tool is going to be a SaaS delivery model, so wherein True and Fair will be onboarding the audit firms who subscribe for this tool, and from there on the onboarding, after the audit firm is onboarded onto this platform, it will be taken care of by the audit firm to onboard their clients, their users and their engagements and stuff like that. So onboarding and then through the audit execution. So every engagement will have its set of audit file index, which will take you to perform the audit work as per the standards and the templates provided by the tool. So then next is it, as is mentioned earlier, it provides a secure environment for the client to provide their documents. You can actually create access to your respective clients for that engagement, to access that engagement folder, to upload their information which you can consume for your audit work. And he will have access.
You will sign an NDA with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are two things.
Yes. Yeah.
She will explain some more features which are coming about. It's coming in the next slide. She will explain that, then we will discuss that. Yeah.
So, and as is already told, this it's a config. It'll provide a configurable library of all the templates which are driven by content. So it will enable you, which is compliant to the audit standards. And obviously there are packs, as he told, that there are packs for when you do when your clients are of public limited or non-public limited clients, and also the type of engagement. So there are packs customized or tailored for that scope of audit. And then the fourth aspect is the trial balance. The trial balance is, we'll dwell on it a little detail later as well, but it allows you to import the trial balance from the client given input, and then enables you to enrich that trial balance so that you can perform the testing across the various account heads, which is aligned to the FS lines, FS notes, and the groupings and stuff like that. So it will allow you to enable the journal entries to be posted there, and then take it forward. So in every step there will be a reconciliation and validation that will be there in order to ensure that there is data integrity across the flow of information, the financial flow of information. So then the fifth aspect is the risk of material misstatements, wherein here also we enable the templates to actually capture the risks. One is the tailored set of risks which the tool will provide. You can choose from them, as well as it gives the flexibility for the auditor to enter the risks which are very specific to the business of the client. And that once it is categorized under one account head, it keeps flowing through down for the further identification and also for the testing. So, and also as he said, the audit responses is provided for standard risks that are already part of this tool. Then the other aspect is all these work papers or artifacts that you create as a part of your audit work allows the reviewer. Actually, it enables preparer and reviewer to be identified at every work paper level, so that the reviewers can put in their review notes and enable the sign-offs by both preparer and reviewer to close the review notes. Then the other aspect is the archival, and as per the regulatory compliance, we enable at least a retention of 8 years of, up to 8 years the retention of the records, the work papers that has been created here. And the other aspect is the roll forward, wherein you can, when you start the engagement for the next financial year or the next quarter, it allows you to roll forward the previous engagements cycle into the current one, and you can work on it, so that certain repetition of work can be avoided. That it may not be for all the documents, but for certain documents which will enable the reusability there, so that your documentation work can be used. So then the other aspect of it is all this is supported by a persona-based user journey and dashboards at engagements, and the kind of clients that are doing, the status of the engagements, what kind of review, how many review notes are still open, and those kind of tracking mechanisms through these dashboards, customized for every persona who is logging into the platforms. So these are the functional features of ADAT. So moving on. So this is the technical aspect of it, profile of the tool actually. So this is going to be a web-based platform hosted on the cloud. So we are leveraging the cloud solution providers' identity and access management capability. So everything will be the user provisioning, role management, the multi-factor authentication, all that will be leveraging out of that standard resource which is provided by the cloud solution provider. And the other aspect is it is going to be integrated with a standard document management and collaboration tool, so that the data encryption and data security needs will be taken care of. So all the documents will be data encrypted, and it will ensure that we are covering that aspect. Then the other aspect is while we are trying to leverage the solution providers' security features, we are also doing an independent assessment of this tool from a security perspective by an independent organization, which will actually assure from the security perspective, from the IT security perspective, is assured and certified. So then the other aspect is we are working on the restrictions that can be there in terms of the data export or the work paper export and documents export. Of course, not all the documents will be allowed for export as such. So certain documents have their flexibility, like say client acceptance letter or engagement letter, which is outside the audit, actual technical matters of audit. But certain other things will not. We are putting restrictions in terms of data export and printing and stuff. So these are the features from a security and perspective.
So two things when it comes to the NDA aspect. First is when the audit firm is onboarded, True and Fair will onboard the audit firm. Your firm comes to me, you will say that please onboard my firm A and Co, and in A and Co please authorize XYZ as the authorized people. Now that's what the True and Fair will do, and True and Fair role stops there. After that, A and Co with the XYZ can create further users. You want to onboard managers, assistant managers, audit seniors, article clerks, you will onboard all of that. You will onboard the client which client you want to set up in the file, and you will onboard the engagement also, because you can say client, I am doing quarter limited review, first quarter limited review, you will onboard the engagement also. True and fair has no role in any of these things. True and fair will not have any access to all these matters. The access is only for onboarding the audit firm. There it stops. It doesn't have access to anything else. Now, having said that, True and fair initially after some time, maybe year 1 or year 2 or so, will intend to do certain things on artificial intelligence, which means we need to access data. We will come back to the audit firms, seek their permission in the context in which we want to do access to the data, because I need only the raw data. I don't need the client name. I don't need anything. I just need the raw data. Which clients identified this risks? 10 clients identified this risk, 15 clients identified this risk. This was the audit procedure which was most common. I want to use that artificial intelligence. So to that extent, I may want access to the data, raw data, irrespective of the client, and to which we will come back to you for specific permission. If you give the permission, we will access it. If it does not, that not there. And that will get validated to the independent assessment being security assessment being audited annually by an independent firm. So we are very cognizant. I am very cognizant about client confidentiality and sensitivity, because I have come through the same environment. I am very cognizant. We will try to do whatever is there required to satisfy the audit firm that it is working in a very secure way.
So like UDIN is already there.
Yeah.
And if we are generating UDIN for a client,
Yeah.
then UDIN becomes a unique number for that client. And
For that document, for that report.
Yeah, for that particular assignment.
Yeah.
So why not we insert the UDIN only?
UDIN comes at the end of the audit. No, it doesn't come at the beginning of the audit.
Yeah, it comes in the end of the audit.
So I need to set up the engagement at the beginning. No.
So we can have a system of generating a unique number for a particular.
No, the tool will give the unique number. It will give, because you also need to remember which engagement you are looking for. No, UDIN number you will not remember. I will know the audit of ABC Limited, 31st March 2022. I will remember. I don't know the UDIN number of that number. So your engagement number should be synonymous with what you are doing, so that it's easy for you to access. We can make it very complicated. I can get the system to put random numbers, like you get a PIN, no, OTP PIN. I can put random numbers. How will you remember those numbers?
No, that will be when we are having the client's papers. So that will be part of the working paper. And will be the same.
Many times must. You don't look at the file to access the file. No, I have been an auditor. So when I look at the file, I will simply say X Limited, you pull me out March 22, you pull me out the paper. That's how you will pull out. You will not say UDIN number ABC, this one. You will not remember that number. You need to access the file to see the number first. No, how will you access the file? So to me, UDIN number will not work. For one is the timing, second is the complexity, and the ease of use for you. Ease of use for you is to remember, you know the client name, you know the period end, you know the engagement you are looking at. If these three are known, the code should be based on that. That is how we will create the code, so it's easy.
So today a medium-sized firm
Yeah,
is very good in starting,
yeah,
very good in performance,
yeah,
but very poor in completion.
yeah.
So I think you get what.
Yeah, so no.
So meaning to say, extending further, we spend say 30% of our time in initial planning and 50% we spend in
Execution.
last only 10 to 15% or so, we concentrate more on the deliverable side.
Correct.
I'm sure that's not the case with Big Four.
No, it can be that, not be that. Yeah. It depends on the engagement.
To my knowledge,
Yeah.
it's not so. So they spend more time on the deliverables.
They're supposed to spend more time on planning.
So how do you see this challenge of training the mid-sized firm in changing their mindset primarily, the way they do their audit procedures?
No, the thing is this. It's a question of spending the right amount of time at the right time. It is not just the right amount of time, it should also be at the right time. So that we will come up with audit quality milestones sort of a thing, which will explain which has to be completed by which time. It is up to the audit firm to follow that or abandon it. If you abandon it, traditionally we have seen that the quality has automatically dipped, and that will get picked up in your monitoring. Then we can say that you are not following the milestones and therefore you better follow. From next year we give you time. Remediate yourself. If you don't remediate, after 2 years we will say don't be part of the network, because your firm cannot compromise the entire network.
So for a medium-sized firm, how I look at it,
Yeah.
the role of true and fair.
Mhm.
If we take a say listing company for the first time, for example, as a joint auditor award,
Yeah.
we expect the role of quality, role of true and fair to be the quality control partner.
No, we won't be.
You won't be.
I won't be. Because true and fair is not a CFM. So one of the other things we are trying to do is, true and fair will not get into your audit or operations. We are not bothered what you do. We don't care. Let me put it this way. I will give you quality policies. I will give you guidance as to how those policies can be followed and implemented. Up to you, you follow, then I will monitor whether you have followed or not. Okay, I will give you training. If you ask for training on engagement, I will give you the training. But on the engagement performance, true and fair as a non-CA firm should not get access to it. You will be in violation of code of conduct of the institute. Therefore, we don't want to do that. What true and fair is looking to do is, if you are a small medium firm and not part of a network, you don't have the bandwidth to do certain things which are required under the standards. For example, the quality control review you cannot do because you don't have the bandwidth to do. So we are looking to form a EQCR from CA firm to perform only EQCR for such audit firms. Okay. Some of the partners of True and Fair will set up a CA firm, or some of the good friends of True and Fair who are good in quality, they will set up a CA firm which can provide outsourced quality control services, because EQCR can be done only by CA firms. They will do the quality control. But the pain and pressure you will have is, the EQCR firms, since they are so independent, they will be very, very strict on their EQCR. The audit firm should be willing to digest that. They may finally on the report date come and say that I don't agree. So then it becomes your issue. So you need to be prepared. We'll mention all these pros and cons. You take the call after that, how you want to approach it. There are two models. You can subscribe to quality policies, everything, and say that I don't want to use the name of True and Fair in my branding. I don't want to say A & Co mentored by True and Fair. I don't want to say that. I don't bother. Then you do what you want. I'll give my quality policies. Peer review comes, you can showcase these quality policies as being available. But you're not following that is your problem. I don't bother. But if you want to leverage the True and Fair brand, you have to comply. You don't have a choice. That we will insist, because True and Fair as a brand, we want to get it to be a big brand.
No, let me just modify my. If I officially am not saying that you are an EQCR partner, but unofficially for my firm, I want to say that there is an EQCR being verified or monitored or mentored by XY.
Ideally, we will get the EQCR firm to do that. Because see, as True and Fair, we don't want to do that. Because as True and Fair, as I said, I want to maintain some independence between actual audit performance and this, because then it gives me the ability to come up with the right standards. Today, what audit firms struggle is, since you are also client facing, lot of the quality policies are influenced by the client's compulsions. So for example, if I come up with a policy to say that for your public interest audit clients, you will not do any non-audit work. I will be able to show that because I am not doing any audit. I can state that policy. But will you state that policy? You will say, oh, I am losing so much of revenue. You are not going to be independent in forming such a policy. That calls for a different mindset. And most firms will not have that mindset. Even today, if you see the big four, I think only 2 of the big fours have publicly announced that they won't do non-audit work. Other 2 are hesitating. If that is the restriction even a big four has, other firms will be under more compulsion. No? Whereas I, as True and Fair, am independent completely. I will prescribe my policies. You follow that policy, which is the best practice.
Yeah. So moving on to this onboarding feature, as we told, when you subscribe, the audit firm will be onboarded with some specific set of users who can later take it on towards onboarding their users, their clients and engagements and stuff like that. Then the audit firm all these onboarding activities will be the role will be defined, so you can assign the users to certain role privileges so that they will perform that activity, and there will be a workflow approval mechanism involved in order to authorize the users, authorize the engagement setup, authorize the client onboarding as well. So all these are through a workflow management thing. And then the 5th aspect is the audit execution planning, wherein while the audit file is actually created when you set up an engagement, it will come with all the templates that is provided as a part of this tool, and each of these work paper or these items can be assigned to a preparer and a reviewer who are part of the audit engagement basically. So you can define a EQCR partner who is reviewing it, the partner manager, the audit staff, the EQCR, and other reviewing partners, whomever you think that you can onboard on them, who should have required access or privileges to those work papers. It can be defined here, and the allocation of these work papers to the preparers and reviewers can be done. So that is the 5th part of it, and 6th part of it is performing the audit itself. Anyway, these work papers are rich in content, compliant to the audit standards, so it allows you to perform the activities as per that, and there is a sign-off mechanism, review notes, logging in and getting a consolidated list of review notes, and then both preparer and reviewer signing off on that. And then there is integrity checks that will be performed on these work papers in terms of ensuring that all the review notes are closed, and there is complete certain level of quality quality compliance on the documents specific to that nature of that work paper, and in terms of content as well. And then obviously the mismatches in reviewer dates and preparer dates, if that is not matching, then all that has to be taken care of. And then archival also is another thing which is provided. So after the audit report is submitted or done, it enables you to archive and also track any changes that you do after the audit cycle is ended, and during the after the audit report is submitted, and after that if there are any changes that you do to any of the work papers, so that it enables to track those changes as well. So between the audit report date and the archival date, if you are performing any of those changes, it enables the tracking of those changes as well. So which many of the regulators, I believe, ask for such kind of information during the review. So this is in a flow about the onboarding through the audit execution. So moving on to the next topic, that is, so this is the library of contents. As he has already explained, it is going to be content rich. There will be technical guidance which will be provided for every, there will be a traceability of the technical guidance matters for each of the work papers that is going to be provided as a part of this tool. And it takes you through from the audit planning, audit execution to the compliance and conclusion phases. So it's content driven. So that is the differentiator that we have, that we propose as a part of this.
So this client acceptance is like a pre-audit engagement activity?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. So this is what is getting documented in the file. We are going to be developing from April to September next year, as I told, a complete module on client and risk assessment, because institute guidance requires you to carry out certain procedures in the client acceptance and risk assessment. All those things will templatize. We want to integrate client acceptance to engagement creation. That means once the client is accepted by the partner, concurred by another partner as per the firm's approval policies, or third partner also, then only the engagement can be created. So we'll link up all those things so that it becomes a very, very constrained environment in which you will work, and a high quality environment in which you will work. Today you can set up an audit file independently and start doing the work also. Tomorrow we don't want that, and we are looking to even integrate timesheets. For example, I will be able to book time on an engagement only if the engagement has been set up. Engagement can be set up only if the client has been accepted. So that means there is a complete interlinkage from acceptance till timesheet.
So this will include engagement letter also?
Yeah, we'll be giving a template of engagement letter, the standard templates including various services. I'll do certification work, some engagements I may do tax audit, some engagements I will limited review. I'll be giving all those templates which are there. So it's same structure, nothing changes. Only the Companies Act requirements will not be required in non-corporate, that's all. That will get eliminated. So if I define the type of entity, if I say company, it will populate Companies Act. If I say it's non-corporate, then the Companies Act portions will get deleted. It won't get populated in the file. So when you are creating the audit file, you have parameters. I will have to say Ind AS, I will have to define the gap, all those things, and then what engagement is it? Is it tax audit, statutory audit? Depending on that, the content will get created.
So the institute has brought in even the QRB on tax audit.
Yeah.
Will your thing be covered for that also?
Yeah. This file is available for access. We will have a tax audit checklist which everything can be filled in, and that can get reviewed. Not an issue.
Same program will be applicable for ICO file also?
Yeah.
There will be a different one.
Absolutely. No, if you say testing of design of controls, testing of IT controls, testing of information technology is there, information produced, all the operating influence, all the testing is there.
Before we generally use JE testing, but as a mid-size firm, we would not have that JE testing tools, internal integration of complete GI.
So I will dwell into sampling and testing separately, because I have got a different mindset to that completely. Okay, and that will need significant some amount of training to the audit firm, because today, okay, so if you are looking at a smaller entity audit, you can do sampling. Okay, And JE testing, we can work out certain parameters in which you can run it even in Excel, not an issue. That is not a really complicated issue. But for larger entities, which are public interest entities, I believe sampling is out of the way. You cannot do sampling. You have to look at and test 100% of the interested population. Now, how do you identify the population requires detailed data analytics. So, we will come up with some guidance on how the data analysis can be performed. We are also trying to find out whether we can develop some tools on that, because data analytics, the problem is, one is the risk is different, two is each client database is different. So, the quality of information which comes from the client database will be different. You can't standardize an analytics tool, it's very difficult. So, we are trying to find a way which is the best way to do things, but we will do something. By March, hopefully we will have some answer to this. But for larger entities, we should be doing away with sampling, because sampling will tell you only 25, 30 samples or 75 samples. That is not indicating anything.
Data analytics will be integrated with this one.
Data analytics will be separate, because that is going to be client engagement specific, because you need to know what is the risk, which is capable of getting tested to data analytics, and for that data analytics, what is the data you need. You need to be very clear. See, today a lot of people are marketing data analytics in a big way. That is garbage in, garbage out, because you don't know what you want, you don't know what is the output, but you happily end up testing that, saying that this is given this to answer. But that will not be correct. We want to build something which is actually usable, you understand why you are using it, what you need, so that it becomes more powerful.
So it can calculate the materiality.
Materiality is an arithmetical calculation, you don't need analytics and all that. It's 10% of profits or 5% of assets, whatever. It's a simple formula. We will give guidance. No, we'll give guidance. We'll give guidance as to how the materiality threshold should be established. We'll give guidance on that.
You told that the trial balance will be imported.
Correct, from the client, yeah.
In this software.
Correct.
But in SAP, in a large company, there are around thousands or 1500 ledgers and different codes.
That's okay, but the trial balance is only one.
Trial balance one, but trial balance is to be imported. That means the individual ledgers will be imported.
Important. Only trial balance will be imported. Only the final closing balance will be imported. No, trial balance is only one statement. No, it will have the closing balances. That's all.
Only that thing.
Only, no, ledger and all. Why should the audit file carry that? You should not carry that. It's a high risk for the auditor. Because something will be written in the ledger which you wouldn't have seen. The regulator will see that, oh, this is written, why didn't you see? If you carry any additional information, you are in risk. The more you document, the more you are in risk, especially more you document client document.
But trial balance, what we see in SAP and this includes the individual ledgers.
No, that is in SAP environment, because if you click on it, it will open the full background.
So we are auditing on that way.
Yeah, but trial balance is finally one set of statement which will have only the closing balance of the accounts.
That closing balance of accounts, that means it includes the individual ledger.
That is in SAP. That is in SAP. When you take the trial balance in Excel, it will be one line each. That's all. That one line will get imported. No, SAP will get, see, no trial balance is given in SAP environment, because the printing will always happen. You will export it to Excel, no?
Yeah.
So you will export it. That time it will come as closing balance only, no?
How it will be imported?
So the closing balance will get imported.
Demo here.
No, we don't have a demo here for trial balance, but trial balance as a fundamental concept is only closing balance. It won't have the ledger underlying it.
At a FS level.
Not even at FS level. FS level is a grouping. FS level is a grouping. So that is grouped from the trial balance. So therefore there is nothing. The ledger will never come. No trial balance has the ledger anywhere in the world. So therefore, I don't understand the question. No trial balance in the world has the ledger.
But when we are generating the trial balance, this comes as individual ledger.
At the account balance level, closing balance. Yeah,
Yes.
closing balance.
Yeah, the
Close-
account head level it comes.
Ledger codes.
Ledger code, ledger code will be there, account name will be there, and the closing balance will be there. These three columns will get imported. These three columns will
And the
get
previous
imported.
years, and the previous years.
That will get imported. Yeah, that will get
And
imported.
the previous year balance.
What happens here, that code will be imported.
Yeah, the code will
Yes,
be
yes.
imported.
If that code will be imported, because those codes have are given according to the current classification and nature of the.
That's okay. You also will have to group. You will have to group in the trial balance how the
Yeah,
things work.
further, yeah, actually.
So whether you provide some assistance.
No. The
just
module will have the
standard
standard
grouping.
groupings. You will have to drop down, click on the drop down, select which is the right grouping and put it. That is basic audit work, no?
So it will create a financial also?
It will not create financials. But it will create it will create the totals of the financials in each of the line levels. What is for example, what is the total fixed assets, total trade receivables,
Will be as per the schedule 3.
as per schedule 3. Yeah, the whole thing is aligned with schedule 3.
And I can attach the work papers to it.
Yeah. No, there is no need to attach, because from the trial balance only the work paper is created.
It will generate the balance sheet also.
No,
No.
because balance sheet only has to have a lot of information. This one.
Scoping will be part of the trial balance itself?
Pardon?
The scoping
No.
or it will be separate?
That will be separate.
That will be part of audit strategy, no?
Yeah.
One more thing, like once you written like it's a test of control. If an assignment we skip the test of control, there is no control, then the substantive testing, your guidance will change as per the the controls we have more reliance on control than the.
Correct. It will change. It will change.
That portal caters this.
No. Substantive testing procedures will remain the same. Extent of testing will change. The procedure will not change. Extent of testing. Earlier I selected, let's say, 50 samples. Because I didn't rely on controls, I may increase it to 100 samples, as an example. Testing, nature of testing will not change.
And all the standard procedures like standard auditing procedures will be there.
Will already be there.
With mapping of all the assertions like.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Coming back to the trial balance, will leave schedules be changed?
Yeah.
Yes, testing sheets will be generated.
Then don't tag the account to the FS notes.
Yesterday indicated that it will follow the schedule 3 format.
That's correct.
Yes.
Schedule 3 lines.
Like schedule 3 line. So now suppose initially we select it as a non-corporate, will it incorporate the financial statements as per the new format, suggested format as per the guidance?
For non-corporates. Yeah. It will align to that. Yeah. It will align to that. Yeah. It will align. Yeah.
Not laying much emphasis, so that
Yeah.
would be very useful.
It will align to that. Yeah.
According to SQC1, the quality controller reviewer will be separate from the
Engagement team.
engagement. So whether there is
Yes,
scope,
provision.
provision in the
No.
Onboarding, yes. In engagement.
EQCR is one section will be there on EQCR. You have to identify the EQCR is. I at True and Fair don't know who is the EQCR in the firm.
there is the provision that
But there is a provision. You will identify
Yes,
that
yes,
role.
and give-
You will
give
identify
access to-
that role. You will identify that role and create him
Read
access
only
to the file.
Yeah.
And he will also have a separate section for sign off on what work he has done. So that will be there.
He will have view access to all the. So this is trial balance, which I think most of it was.
It is 45th day, put it out to that extent.
63. You can have 30 days also, 15 days also, depending on your firm's policy. Yeah. You can have your policy.
Sir, just one question on documentation, like lead sheet, how it would be created. There will be certain further documents which you would have
So within the sheet itself, you can insert tabs.
inserted.
Yeah. There will be a tick
It
marks
will-
tab also, pre-populated, so you can fill it in that. So you can add additional tabs and do your work, cross-reference whatever it is, put your tick marks.
Yeah, it is. To certain extent, controls are through the tool, and certain flexibility for the users too. So I think most of things we discussed as a part of this trial balance, I think. So it is from the creation through the testing. So it allows for importing, as he said, the account heads, the description of that, the numbers, the closing balances, and after that, the previous years also will be there. And after that, you can perform the journal entries, assign the target groupings, and then once the trial balance is reconciled, certain data validation it will do on that, and you can move on to create the grouping level aggregates. Then in the groupings, you can put the FS notes level assignment, and then move on to FS lines. So that way it goes, and finally to the financial statement aggregates that it can show, and then you can create the testing sheets. There will be a tab which will be provided, button will be provided, which will create the testing sheets, and from there on you can take it for your manual updates as well. So this is on the trial balance flow. So the other salient feature which we dealt quite a bit is on the risk. So this also enables the flow of risks that are identified, right from this understanding entity, the assessment of fraud activities, and the audit plan by account. So these are the three sets of activities which any auditor performs. So it will enable the identification of, there are templates where you can identify the risks across the various account heads, and the audit responses also will keep populating it. And it will get consolidated account head wise and flow into the audit plan templates and to the testing templates. So if you have to identify any risk, you cannot identify it in the testing template. You have to go back to that template where you have to actually can identify a risk and source a risk. And any cross-reference is also established in case the risks are identified in understanding entity activities or assessment of fraud kind of an activities, then it will establish a cross-reference to which template that a risk has been identified. So,
Yeah. This is completely compliant with standards on auditing.
yeah.
What is the robustness in terms of the understanding and evaluation of business process?
There will be significant, so 2-3 things are being planned there. So when I've been in Deloitte, I'm sure it's happening in every firm, the understanding of the business is very shallow. Okay. If at all, best you copy paste from the client website, which means actually there is no understanding. Because in the website it's only marketing talk. The reality is never spoken. So whereas our understanding template will be very different. It will force you to inquire and talk to people. It will force you to evidence that you have spoken by asking you to keep a copy of the minutes in the file. Minutes in the file cannot be just minutes documented. It has to be an email sent to the person saying that this is the minutes. That means you can't draft a minutes without talking to him, because you can't send it to him otherwise. So it will force a lot of things. The understanding levels has to be very different. Some of the things when I tell people don't get worried, but my vision, I'm passionate about quality, I'll talk about my vision. Today when we go for an audit, what happens? The client gives you a trial balance. If he gives a trial balance and a set of financials, he says my profit is, let's say, 100 crores. You say, oh, 100 crores, okay, 10% of 10 crores my materiality. You straight away start attacking. But do you ever think whether 100 crores should be the number, or 50 crores should be the number, or 150 crores should be the number? You don't. Whereas in the market, an analyst will say TCS revenue should be this much, and the revenues plus or minus 5% to that. He says TCS profit should be so much, it's plus or minus 5% to that. He is building an expectation and getting into the scenario. Now why aren't we as auditors, with so much of information available with us about the company and understanding the company, why are we not able to build an expectation? How can you take for granted that the number given by the client is correct? Where is your skepticism? So I am trying to onboard financial analysts to this network of firms who will help this network of firms understand expected profit numbers for clients which they choose to desire. I think that should be made compelling for every listed entity. And using the expectation, you will start your planning. That means if my profit number is 800 crores and the company is showing 1000 crores profit, I need to understand where the 200 crores additional is coming from. That is a risk for me. I need to address that risk. So I am trying to bring in a lot of things like that. So the level of understanding I need from the business within that template will be very exhaustive. But if you create it right the first year, then you can carry forward and then update it subsequently for any changes only. So it becomes, first year it will be a solid investment. Second year onwards it will become much lighter and easy.
Whether it has the capability of trend analysis, making the trend analysis.
It doesn't have. You will engage an analyst to do that.
How restricted is the flow in terms of, like you mentioned, that unless you do that understanding in that detail, can I really move on to the next step?
No, you can move on, but then see, my thing is this. My auditing standards checklist is not going to be a checklist. Because in a checklist, you all know, you will have to answer yes. If you answer no, something is wrong. So by default, whether read or write, you will read yes, 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 yes. You are not applicable, will become a yes. That is how typically things are done. My checklist is not going to be completely different. It will be descriptive. You will have to tell what you have done. So to me, if I am NAFRA, if I open the auditing standards portion and read what you have written, I will know the quality of a file. If your writing is good, obviously it has to be then supported in the work papers. I know that the audit is fantastic. By looking at 3 sections, the auditing standards filling sections, I will be able to conclude on the quality of the audit file. That is my idea. Therefore, there is no yes, no. Any matter which is principle based will have to be descriptive. Any matter which is rule based can be yes, no. Like schedule 3 is rule based. Have you disclosed this? I will have to say yes. That is, there is no principle there. So I will put a yes, no for the checklist. But whichever matter is principle based, it will be a descriptive answer telling how you complied with the principle. So this is something very different which no firm is doing. But if you do this, you will really get a satisfaction that you have done the right thing. And in a review, my review process also, I am looking at it differently. I want 2 additional people on the audit engagement team, audit team. I won't say engagement team because audit team, because they will support the engagement. One is at the planning stage. I want an industry specialist to be involved in the audit. He is not going to perform the audit. He will only question and throw ideas to the audit team to say these things you have to consider. And if you are not considering, better have a good reason why you are not considering things. And then second is I want a reviewer, separate reviewer, not the EQCR reviewer, separate reviewer, who will just run through the auditing standards piece and say whether the file will stand a scrutiny or not. If it doesn't stand the scrutiny, he will tell what is wrong, and then the team can work on improve on it. And this ideally should be done before the audit report is issued. But even if, let's say, pressure of time, you are not able to do it, I want this to be done before the archival is done. Because certain corrections are permitted in the file under SA 230. Even after the report date, we will do that. But beyond that, if something is there, then you know that you have done a bad job. Let's accept it, admit it, correct it going forward. That correction will happen immediately. I don't need to wait for monitoring. I don't need to wait for an inspection to pick up. I know the error, what has caused the error. I will do a root cause and then correct myself. So I have got a lot of thoughts on in terms of how things should be done, but firms should be willing to accept and adopt it. I can prescribe anything. As I told, I am independent.
I mean, an ideal world is different.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, from a small firm to a medium firm to a
No, this is only for large entities. Small entities, I don't want to go through all this nonsense.
Absolutely, it will be different for each level of firm how much they want to adopt.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you hear my speech, I have told that we'll be coming up with 2 sets of quality policies. One quality policy is something which is going to be very basic, complying to the standards on auditing, which is easy to follow because anyway you have to follow. Second will be the enhanced scope standards which are there only for firms which want to really make an impact on quality. So those firms can choose the second model because that really shows the credibility there.
Industry specific persons service can be provided by.
Not by me. Your audit firm needs to have. I won't have that.
Sir, can you just give one example that enables the flow of identified risks? How the risks are identified by this? Can you give
We will show you a draft of the content, then you will see how it is. I will show you a draft of the content.
Just finished, run through this once.
Because that is in Excel, we have to come
Yeah.
on to the presentation. So.
Yeah. So these are the other features which we discussed before, review aspects of it, and then the tracking the changes after the audit report date, and then file check feature, and then this roll forward feature. So in case of remediation, what would be?
The roll forward feature, what we are bringing is very unique. We are also envisaging a situation where the roll forward may be required for restatement, because in days there is no prior period error concept. You have to reissue the previous year financials. So I can roll forward the file for doing a restatement. Let us say in a practice review inspection, something is wrong in the file. I have to correct the file. Then also I'll need a roll forward. Otherwise I'll have a separate file for remediation, which is not good. If you have one file, it's always good. So we are allowing a roll forward even for that purpose, not only for the purpose of the next year's audit, which is very unique in this tool, which I don't think will be there in any other tool.
So these are some of the other features that we are planning to bring in as a part of it. So this is the roadmap from a tool perspective. Want to talk about it?
Yeah, so next year 23-24 we will have industry specific packs coming up in terms of certain identified industries which are there, and we will also coming up with the operational management of client acceptance, engagement acceptance sort of a thing. 24-25, which is 2 years down the line, we would have done the audit for March 23 and March 24. Based on user feedback, I will get into more automation in the tool, because right now I am keeping the automation levels minimal. The reason is this: I don't want to thrust a technology on the audit firms, because I have been a user. I am very upset about technology because I don't understand it. Unless I feel comfortable and I see that something is really required, if you thrust anything, there is a resistance and there is a hatred that I don't like this, I don't want this. I don't want to impose anything which is unnecessary. If you believe something is required based on the user feedback which I get, I will do the next level of enhancement which comes. Because this tool will keep going through changes, because regulatory changes will come, I will need to update the content. So many changes will happen, we will bring in certain other contents also, but that will happen in 2 years time, after 2 seasons of audit, FY 24-25. In FY 25-26, I will get into artificial intelligence. Because one of the powerful things which is possible to be done is, if you have a database, a library of so many audit files, you can see what is the pattern coming out in these audit files and try to give more meaningful information to the auditors to perform the audit. But for that I need your consent because it is your data at the end of the day. I don't have access to it. If you give consent, I will access the data. As I told you, it will be a metadata which will be accessed. It is, I don't bother about which client it is. It won't be identified to a client. It will say this risk has been identified in 120 engagements. Because let me look at this way. Let's say 5,000 companies subscribe to my tool. Auditors subscribe for 5,000 audit engagements to be hosted on the tool. In 2 years time, I will have 10,000 engagements. 10,000 engagements is a big population for me to run a meaningful artificial intelligence to find out what are the trends coming. So the trends can then get guided to the audit firms to say, in these engagements, these risks are there, therefore you should also identify those risks. It can help refining your risk thinking process. I don't know what other artificial tools are possible in that, but I will do my research. I need time to do the research. What we will come up with something very constructive, discuss with the whole people of subscribers because they need to give their consent and then take it forward into artificial intelligence. That is the plan which is there. Pardon? Yeah, so as I told, data analytics, today there are tools which are there, but they are all garbage in, garbage out. You don't know what input information you need to give. Whereas what we are trying to develop is to see how certain data analytics can get standardized, which are most commonly used.
So it will be integrated.
It won't be integrated. It will be a separate tool. It will be Excel or something like that. We'll work out. I don't know whether I'll collaborate because many people have come and spoken to me in this stall itself, saying that data analytics will help you, will help you. I don't know what they are doing because I don't trust anybody. So I have to see first, understand what they are doing, get a comfort that, pardon?
That big four attitude is there.
No, not big four attitude. The issue is this. People use things very, very randomly, loosely. I don't believe in that. I will talk things only when I know what I'm talking about. So if I probe them 2 questions slightly on data analytics, they back out. That means their whole thing is shallow. So that is where I remember one client, when I was sitting in front of a client, a banker came. This is a Tamil Nadu client. A banker came and was trying to sell a hedging product. He told great in English, fantastic English. That MD told, in Tamil he told, sir, நீங்க இங்கிலீஷ்ல என்ன சொன்னீங்களோ அது தமிழ்ல சொல்லுங்க. சொல்லிட்டீங்கன்னா நான் எடுத்துக்கிறேன் product. You translate the same thing in Tamil and tell me, then I'll take the product. That guy didn't know what to tell because he is mugged and come. He doesn't know the meaning itself. These are data analytics are like that. They will just mark it. I don't accept that. I want to see the proof.
Your product is applicable even for the internal audit environment?
No, only statutory audit. Internal audit is very, very, I can't build a standard process for that. It's very, very client specific, your intelligence, etc. That won't work.
No, but why I'm asking is even
Internal audit, I can do only one thing. I can give a blank. No, I can give a blank file. I can give a blank file where you can store the information and archive it. That I can do. But it won't have any content. It will be a blank file. Only thing it can have is a client acceptance it can have, and then a blank file, and then you archive the file. Archival is addressed. That I can do. That I can ensure. So this I have already spoken about. I can also enable performance of EQCR by doing a separate form. The training also I have already spoken about. So for professionals, we want to collaborate with CA firms. We want to understand their needs and expectations and tailor our training programs accordingly so that the right professionals can seek the job with a particular firm. And there will be a scoring mechanism which will agree with the firms such that the scores will reflect what the firms are expecting, and then they can do their evaluation based on that. So the monitoring aspect, there are 2 possibilities which are there. One is you may say that I want only your tool. I will use your tool and do my audits. You please monitor how well I have used the tool, whether I am falling short or I am in compliance. That I can do. Second is a whole log. That means you want me to validate your SQC policies, manuals, and compliance with all of that. Apart from the tool, I can do the whole thing also, depending on how the firms choose their monitoring mechanism. Then once the monitoring is done, monitoring is actually very, very powerful. In Deloitte, I was the inspection leader, and it was made a powerful impact in the whole quality of the firm, because when you do a monitoring, you find an observation, you need to first correct that issue. That means the engagement team has to go through a correction process, the partner has to go through a correction process, and if there is a failure on the EQCR on that matter, the EQCR also has to go through a correction process. So that program can be laid out. Because this correction is not just for the engagement, it should help them not to repeat the same error in another engagement. That means it has to be a systematic correction. But if this issue is pervasive to the engagement audit firm, that means multiple audit firms have the same issue, then it's a firm level issue. Apart from correcting these individual people, you will also need to correct the firm. So you need to do something at the firm level also. Then you need to find out what caused this problem. Why did this problem happen? Because unless you correct the root cause, the problem will never get solved. So you will fix the root cause problem, and then you will see how it has been, how the correction has been implemented subsequently. So it's a very, very powerful thing to enhance quality. So practice protection, as I said, the regulatory inspections are increasing, firms are getting notices left, right and center, and they are struggling to respond to the regulatory notices in a proper fashion. So we can help in the whole process, right from drafting to root cause, what problem happened, protection plan, because you know sometimes that it's a gone case. That means somebody is going to get impacted. So what happens if that person is getting banned or asked not to do things? How do you transition the engagement to somebody else? How do you inform the clients about this? So we can work out on all those things. And let's say you want to fight the matter. I can give you access to the disciplinary specialists who can help the audit firms in terms of representing the matter properly. We can give you the access to that. How do I play this? Yeah.
Can you come back to your vision?
First slide.
Your vision.
First slide, that is. Can you start first slide straight?
Vision is standard sector. Standard sector, are you setting standards or are you helping us to comply with standards? Standards are set by the regulator.
I agree to that. This vision statement is not fully there. You please, no, sorry, this is a mistake there. You have pointed out correctly. You should see the website. You have said that standard setter in the financial reporting process, especially in respect of audit reporting and quality. So that's what we have said. That's what we have said. We have discussed this with the institute also. No, your point is valid. Your point is valid. This is not fully taken. This is not fully taken. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, institute actually called us because they saw we had to present all our hoardings and displays to them. They were saying, how can you say you are a standard setter? I said, that's not what we were saying. Then they said, no, we agree, we are correct. Here it's got truncated. But if you read the statement, if you say somewhere there, yeah. Yeah.
What I say, you are copying pasting all the institute standards or whatever standards are applicable into your tool.
No, nothing. Nothing is copy pasted. Nothing is copy pasted. Any audit has to be done as per the institute standards only, no? So then,
All the materials are available.
no, these materials are not available anywhere. These are being created by True and Fair.
What are they created? What is the difference between standards set by?
You know how to apply, will you know how to apply the standards?
That's exactly what I'm
That we are going to give you guidance on how to apply the standards.
need help here.
That is where, that is the guidance I'm going to give. That is the differentiation. Standards everybody can read. Today the problem is you read the standards, you don't know how to apply it. We are going to give you the guidance as to how to apply it. For example, understanding the client. Standard says you do these things. What do you do after that? We are going to give you the guidance.
There will be so many issues will be there. Sometimes we get confused because a lot of updations also will be there. And then the updation, so many updations will be there. In that case, what happens is we don't remember what kind of updations have taken place.
One is the tool will get updated as the regulatory changes happen. That is one. Second is if you subscribe to True and Fair, our intention is to come out with a monthly newsletter on updates. Okay? And we will also try to build a technology wherein certain alerts can come on certain dates, saying that this is to be done by this date, whatever it is.
When I onboard the auditee client's details, based upon the client's details, you should be able to say these standards are mandatorily applicable, these standards are not.
I won't be able to prescribe anything like that. You have to choose the standards which are applicable. I don't know the client.
No, but if you
It will give you the list of standards. You choose what is applicable, you choose what is not applicable. I can't say, for example, I may be a power company. No, therefore the guidance is there. You list out all the standards. You tell what is applicable, what is not applicable. So, for example, I may have a company which has a borrowing limit. Okay, I may have a manufacturing company which doesn't have a borrowing limit. You have to choose that. No, I can only ask you a question.
When you are when I'm putting details of the client, audit client, those details are captured. On the basis of those details, you should be able to say these.
You should be. No, I won't be able to say that. You have to say that. You know the client. For example, no. For example, your client may be a manufacturing company. Everything might have been taken on lease. So therefore, there is no property, plant, and equipment. How will I know that?
That's what I'm saying. You need to have this data input.
I will give you the list of standards which are applicable. You choose. You say applicable, not applicable.
But anyway, it's available in institute website also.
So then use the institute website to do your audit also. Don't use this tool.
I'm trying to make best use of this tool.
No. You see, we can't think fancy. We have to think reality. No, he said this is fancy because I don't know your client. How can I say manufacturing, you may be doing the audit, he may be doing the audit. For the same industry, how can I say there are two sets of standards applicable? Because for him, he may have something additional. For example, Tata Motors is just trading also. How can I say Tata Motors is a manufacturing company, therefore only manufacturing should come?
Data provided by user.
Therefore, you have to select what is applicable, what is not applicable.
Right now there is no intelligence built actually.
You are telling us these are the standards which are applicable.
I will give you the list of standards. For example, I will not give you Ind AS 41. Agriculture standard doesn't apply, I will not give you that. Other than that, all the standards will come. You choose. You may have financial instruments, you may not have financial instruments. You may have employees, you may not have employees. I don't know all that. You have to choose what is applicable, not applicable. How can True and Fair sit centrally and decide? It's impossible. Pardon?
Ultimately, you take the responsibility as a single part.
Even the client situation also dynamically changes. No, these are all things which has to. Boss, if everything can be automated, you people are not required. No, then audit can happen automatically.
What you mean is in 23, 24, you will be assisting 24, 25. The tool automatically tells that this stand based on the history.
It depends. So I don't know what analytics I'll build. I don't know what data into artificial intelligence I'll build. But there will be something which will happen. Maybe. I don't know. I can't. Applicably, not applicably, if the auditor is not able to identify, then they are not fit to do the audit.
No, not that way, not that way.
So that's all. Because the issue is this, you have to do some work, no, to demonstrate your intelligence. See, today the problem is this, everybody is becoming a slave of the technology. They believe technology is correct. Audit will be a disaster. You have to use your application of brain. That is why the whole audit is there. Tomorrow you are subscribing to Nafra's view that small companies doesn't need audit. Effectively you are subscribing to her because you are saying technology will take care of everything. That cannot happen. There is a limitation to the technology, you have to appreciate that, accept that. And this feature, even if you desire, I am not willing to implement. Because not possible. I will do whatever is best possible, any feedback which is best possible, I will definitely do that. But what is you are telling is practically impossible. Because we will run the risk then.
As to we have the fundamental knowledge.
Yeah,
Thereafter we can use
exactly. How do I play that video? Network is important.
So if we subscribe right now, what is we are getting?
Pardon?
Is there any demo version of that?
I can show you the content first.
We are subscribing now. What is demo version we are getting? What is the version we are going to get right now?
So right now
It's
the first version of it you're going to get in March.
can you show the content?
See,
Can you show the content?
risk flow content.
Yeah, that audit plan by account, risk flow. Yeah. Now I'll show you one of the contents as to what is it and how does it look.
No, I subscribe right now, let's say, what we are.
Pardon?
We subscribe right now, but what we are trying to do?
See, there were all these.
No, you won't be able to subscribe right now. Two reasons. One, I don't have the tool. Tool is going to be ready only by March. Okay, I don't know the pricing. I'm still negotiating with the cloud service provider. But we'll keep you updated in terms of where we stand. Our commitment is we want to launch it by March 23. Risk flow. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, this one. No. So this is one of the contents. Of course, this is not in the tool. This is in Excel format. This will get placed into the tool. So this is audit plan by account for revenue. Okay. Revenue is a presumed fraud risk under SA 240. You have to mandatorily consider it as a fraud risk under the auditing standard. Okay. Now, therefore, we are trying to identify the fraud risk factors, possible fraud risk factors, because fraud risk is going to be difficult to templatize, because fraud always is done in a very unique way. We have tried to think of certain things. You may find additional ways to do fraud and you will document that's a risk. There is a flexibility to add additional rows. Now, we have tried to identify what we think are possible fraud risks which can happen. This will be there. Now, you will have to say whether it is applicable, yes or no. If you say no, it is not applicable, you have to justify why it is not applicable. That means you have to think through why that problem will not arise in this particular client. Okay? It will carry the list of risks. For example, in this content, we have identified two fraud risks. So, we have identified two fraud risks. The first one is this, where we are saying that vulnerability of management estimates with revenue recognized in based on percent completion method. In a POC method, there is always an estimate to complete, which is a significant management judgment. You may say 1,000 rupees to complete, 10,000 rupees to complete, it is a big estimate, and that determines the percentage completion. Therefore, and management is capable of misrepresenting their estimate. Therefore, that is a vulnerability of fraud, therefore, we have called it as a fraud risk. And then we have identified one more risk. This is for services. POC is normally there for services, like a construction service or IT development on fixed contract basis, etc. Now, this is for sale of goods. In sale of goods, there is a practice where the client will say, you invoice to me, but don't send me the goods. You send me the goods 1 week later, 10 days later. So, when do you recognize revenue? You can recognize revenue only when the property is transferred. So, you have to wait till the goods are dispatched, but invoice is raised. So, there is a possibility that I may recognize revenue based on the invoice, but without dispatch of goods, because if I show more sales, the sales manager may get more commission. So, there is a potential fraud risk. I have identified this as a fraud risk. Now, the minute I identify this as a fraud risk, it will summarize things below. It will put the same thing as the practice of bill and hold coming, and then it will have the percentage vulnerability of management estimates. Both the risks will get automatically picked up here, risk factors. These are risk factors. Now, I need to describe the risk very clearly. What exactly is the risk I am looking at? Because I need to tell which accounts are impacted because of this risk. I will need to tell which assertions are impacted because of this risk. And because it is a fraud risk, it is automatically a significant risk under auditing standards. And then I will say, how do I test the whole risk? It will tell about what is the test procedure for controls, who is performing the particular control, what is it an automated control or a manual control, what is the frequency of the control. Then then what is these are all technical literature guidances, because standards require you to identify what is the risk of control, is it high or low. Guidance note on ICFR talks about it. Therefore, we are classified this as high. And then you say that how do you test the particular risk? I will reperform the testing. I will reperform what the system is doing as a control testing. I will reperform that. Okay, and then what is the substantive procedure I will do. So, the whole thing is mapped. Now, tell me, if you are an auditor, you go in, if you fill the top portion correctly, automatically everything else populated. The top portion is an understanding portion. Understanding the tool cannot do. Understanding you and I have to do based on our discussions with the client. So, it is sort of self-contained, and everything is defined already. What audit procedure is there, what substantive procedure is there, everything is defined. You do not need to do much, only to validate whether what is stated is what the client is exactly doing. If there is a modification to that, you can update this. You can't delete this because the risk will remain. You can update this control procedure, because my client is doing it in different way. It's a manual control, not an automated control. Then I will tell what the manual control is. So, to that extent I will have to do, but if your understanding is correct, this tool will exactly tell you with the pre-populated content what is required. Okay. Yeah. 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 No, that you have to decide what you want to communicate, what you don't want to communicate. No, you have to decide. The tool will not enable that. You decide what you want to communicate, what you don't want to communicate. There is standard also says you decide. You decide what is the significance. We will give you standard templates on how to communicate things with management. We will give you standard guidance on that. Now, you have to apply the guidance on this particular tool. So, that is guidance will be given. How you apply the guidance is your choice, your professional judgment. Suppose you may say that this fraud risk I identified, but nothing happened. You may choose that I don't need to communicate anything. But you may say that no, since I identified a fraud risk is important, I want to communicate, therefore you will go and say I identified 2 fraud risks. That is your call. Standard doesn't say anything, it is purely a professional judgment. How much you want to communicate, what you want to do. We will give you guidance in terms of how you need to communicate with those as governance. That will give you guidance, including a standard template as to what can be used in that.
Sometime back, I was doing valuation of holding company and subsidy. The subsidy holds shares in another company.
Okay.
That is, shares are there, but because of the company, the company not doing it, they are taking off the shares value. The value is the company, but shares were there. But it is not reflected in the concerned value. So these 10 subsidy company shares are there, but
It should come in the, it should come, yeah.
value. But holding company is totally ignored.
That's an error.
Things come up when we use these financial statements for our valuation purposes. But when we run through these things, we are not able to make out anything also. Because that is valued, that is done by somebody else. It is also done by somebody else. But these kind of inconsistencies between the concerned financial statements and standalone financial statements will not get reflected here.
It will get reflected.
It will not get reflected.
It will get reflected. Because we will be having a consolidation trial balance.
Yes.
The consolidation trial balance will add all the line items of the subsidiaries and prepare the consolidation trial balance. So if the consolidation subsidiaries trial balance has this investment, it will come in the consolidation trial balance also. You can't delete it. It will automatically come. And if it comes there, it will show investments as X amount. If the financial statements show Y amount, that means there is definitely something wrong. Pardon?
Amount is there.
Huh.
Shares are there.
Okay. If you are saying it's not, no, that will not get that will not get, but the account head will come, no? Account head will come with a zero balance, no? So yeah, it will no, it will reflect the account head. It will reflect the account head. It will come in the testing sheet also. Now in the testing sheet it comes, you have to test it, no? If the testing sheet says this investment has zero value, you will test it to see whether the financial statement shows it as zero value, no? How can it get missed?
Financial statements show zero value.
No.
But the description will not be there. So many shares are
I am saying if your account head exists, it will get tested. If the account head exists, automatically the lead sheet will get created including the zero balance. It will show investment in Y Limited zero balance. If that line comes and I compare that line with the financial statements, in my testing sheet is there, Y Limited is zero. In the financial statement, Y Limited is missing. I should ask that question, why is it missing? Because I need to compare these two sheets. That is basic audit. That and all tool cannot pick up because humans have to apply their mind, no? The information is available in the audit file. If information is available in the audit file, it should be in the financial statement also. That is pure negligence, that's all.
Anything else?
Yeah, no, that's it. So, and then this is on fraud. So, similarly, it will get into the normal risks, which are not fraud risks. So, when I come to normal risks, also I need to have a thorough understanding as to what is happening. So, as I told, there will be a preliminary analytical procedure, how the numbers are moving, because we will do the planning typically in January or February for listed entities, which means I need to expect what is the year-end revenue. I need to extrapolate it. I will have the current year final numbers, what is coming out. Then I will have the previous year's numbers. I need to tell the variations which are happening. Explain that here. So that it will identify whether there are variations are giving me a risk.
There is high variation.
High variations, I will need to explain that and see whether that causes the risks. Okay? Yeah, exactly. Then it will come into details of description, how all the revenue is getting generated. There will be various questions. These are pretty comprehensive questions. Okay, you understand the business thoroughly. You don't have a choice. For filling in this, you have to understand. And as I told you, we will force engagement teams to minute the discussions and send it to the person. If you have discussed this with the sales manager, the minutes of discussion with sales manager, which represents understanding this, should be sent, and that email should be kept in the file. That is the only proof, because auditors fudge otherwise. Without discussing, they will simply write something. We don't want that. Because today practices, reality in any firm, including the large firms, is that a lot of planning happens in the office without discussing with the client. Yeah, so I don't want that. I want to demonstrate quality. I will enforce certain things. And then if the risk is identified as a fraud risk, that will automatically flow. What is coming in gray was a risk which you identified in the previous tab. So it will automatically flow into this. So that, as I told you, the data flow, and the same risk will flow into the testing sheets also. So once you capture the risk in one place, it flows ultimately through the audit file. You don't need to worry, there is complete consistency. Let us say you want to amend the risk, because initially I thought some risk doesn't exist, now it exists, or what I thought exists doesn't exist. I'll have to go back to planning and edit it. So it flows from planning. Risk assessment is a process, even if you look at the standards, it's from planning stage to the reporting stage. So you will have to continuously keep updating the planning. So it will have a huge library of content, same way. Each risk is identified with the assertion which is there, and then what procedures. Pardon? There's no points. No, there's no points on all. There's no points on all. The risk is a risk, that's all. Every risk is 100. Yeah. So one of the other things which are thinking of coming out with is, we want to enable a concept of networking. Because today when I look at the NAFRA data, as I was telling you earlier, 7,000 companies being audited by 3,000 chartered accounting firms, everybody is doing one or two firms. With that sort of a fragmented practice, there is no hope for investing in quality. So I am trying to come out with the concept of networking, where True and Fair will incubate a network of CA firms, which can work on a common platform, which is the quality policies, methodology, technology, monitoring, guidance, training, everything provided by True and Fair, so that you can collaborate and succeed in the marketplace. True and Fair has no interest, commercial interest in the network, other than getting the subscription fee for what the network will be subscribing to. We don't bother about your revenue or profits or whatever it is, but we want the Indian firms to succeed. That is the social intent with which the networking concept is thought of. And there is further material available on the website. I think we are running out of time here. So please look at that, and then if you have interest.
Forward to your response by March, sir, then we will.
Pardon?
By March only you will be able to come out.
So no, March will come out, but networking we want to start the discussions much earlier. Networking, because networking needs time. If March I talk, I need time to get everybody to meet, be comfortable with each other, understand what exactly my expectations are, because network has to follow my policies. Some people may say, oh, your policy is too senior, I want to walk out. That's fine.
But you can start subscribing.
Pardon?
You can start a subscription service right now.
No, subscription service.
Able to subscribe, and your product is rolling out, and that networking also keeps growing, and you will also be able to communicate with the management of the auditing guys also.
No, even today you can go and say that we are looking to align with True and Fair, and True and Fair website reference you can give. You can even now you can tell that. There's nothing wrong.
Formal engagement.
That's okay. But see, we can get to a formal one. But what I'm trying to say is, today, no. You are gracious enough to say that, but many firms are saying, I won't know the price. So therefore, let's get it structured. We are very cognizant about the importance of what we are doing and sort of the urgency which is coming. Some firms are saying, December 1st, you give me third quarter itself, I want to go on the audit documentation. I'm saying I am still in the development stage. There's no chance. I'm giving a timeline. I will demonstrate. I will keep people who are interested. I'll keep providing updates also in terms of where we stand in the development, so that you can plan and prepare better. Because I can't come up with the tool on March 31st and say that I have this tool. No, you need to be ready to receive the tool.
Do you have any draft term sheets on which the kind of responsibility that you will have, the kind of responsibility that you will
No, we'll create that, but the responsibility we will have is providing the platform, the application on a secure basis, and hosting the audit firm. That is broadly the contour. The execution responsibility, onboarding the client, everything is with the audit firm. That's how it will look.
So support and other things, yes, we will.
Support and other things, we will include that. Yeah.
Yeah, because full support. User manual will be there. There'll be YouTube presentations on that, and any technical support. There'll be a mechanism to raise any tickets and any technical issues or glitches that you have. So we are to avoid the glitches and all that. We are enabling a pilot testing. So with some audit firm, so that any such things are sorted out at that phase. So ideally, you should not be getting glitches.
Yeah, so networking, if you go to our website, we have an expression of interest page in the contact section. So if you can fill in details there, then I'll get the data, and then we are what I'm planning to do on networking is, I don't know how many firms are interested in that, but I think it's a fairly large number of firms, because some of the firms wanted to give the expression of interest as we're speaking itself. So what I gather, where is Kirti, Rakesh? No, okay. I think about 56 firms so far have shown their interest in networking, and today 3-4 firms came, maybe about 60 firms are interested in networking. I don't know how many more will come, because they didn't immediately respond to that, therefore we don't know the results. So nothing. They have said that, see, I have put some conditions, saying that first thing is, you will have to unequivocally subscribe to my quality policies. You cannot say that no, this I don't agree, I'll implement only 80% of it. I won't accept that. It has to be 100, either 0 or 100. That is my first thing. Second is that you very clearly agree that even though you may be holding some positions and all in your current firm, as a network you are willing to work even without that position. Because let us say in your firm you are the head of quality, I am just a managing partner. I don't think you may be the managing partner in the network. I don't know, you may not be. But you should be willing to work even as a normal partner. Therefore, you are going to be working without any ego of power or position. I am using the word ego, very, very clear. I am very, very straight, I want that. Because network can succeed only if people collaborate. And each one, see, to me, any power or position is a responsibility actually. It is not a power alone. Because if I say somebody is a managing partner, that is not a power position, that is a responsibility position. If you ask me whether I will be the managing partner, true and fair, I don't have a choice, I am. Otherwise, I will say, thank you, no. I will do everything what is required, but I don't want that position because that is a big responsibility. I look at it that way. But some people view it as a power. Perceptions vary. So I want them to work without that perception. Third is, I want people to be willing to invest in quality, technology and training. You should be very, very clear that you will invest in these things on a sustainable basis. It's not that 10 rupee profit I make, I will take the entire 10 rupee. No. 10 rupee means 8 rupees you will take, 2 rupees you will put back for the firm. So there should be some discipline on that. And that is very clear. I put some 4 or 5 conditions like that. If you very clear that all these things are you are capable of doing, then please come to the network. Because those conditions are non-negotiable conditions.
But how will it benefit financially to the...
You will get more audits, no? Simple thing, it opens up the market, no?
The turnover we have, at least the double of
No,
that
I won't be able to promise. It's up to your efforts, how you go and market. I am not running the business.
Why double it 10x?
Excuse me, sir, I have a question that there is a networking means is it networking in line with ICI networking?
Yeah, it's in line with networking rules. See, the model I'm thinking is like this. Let's say 20 firms come together for the network. Okay, the 20 firms will form a new firm, where all the partners of the 20 firms will come out to this firm. Employees and others will remain in the respective legacy firms. Okay, till you integrate. It's going to take time to integrate, but you will be fragmented that way. But all the partners will sit in this network firm, new CA firm. Any new client won will be won by the new CA firm. It will be taken in the name of the new CA firm because you want to build the size of the new CA firm in terms of revenue. Then what happens if the new CA firm, let's say, gets an audit for 10 lakhs. I am putting a number, you can all discuss it, whoever is forming the network. 70% of that revenue will go to the firm which is providing the resources, because the staff are all sitting in another firm. That firm which is providing the resources will take 70% of the revenue to meet its expenses and have its share of profit. 30% will remain in this network firm, which will be, and then network firm will incur its expenses, and the balance will be distributed amongst all the partners of the network. Therefore, collectively you are sharing the revenue because you are trying to collectively collaborate and grow. Now, I may say 70-30, you may say 60-40, 50-50, whatever it is, you work that out. Or there could be another model also, I don't know. But my idea is there has to be a revenue share between the operating firms which have the people and this network firm which will then distribute the revenue, because then each one will fight to increase the revenue of the network firm. Because it benefits the network firm, also his firm, because he also gets 70% of that money. So it is a win-win situation.
The new firm can be created.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the partner of the existing firm need not quit that firm.
He doesn't need to quit the firm. He will also be a partner. He will be a partner in 2 firms. Yeah.
Then what happens?
Yeah.
Suppose yesterday only that one point which I was raising. The partner, when I become a partner in this,
You may lose some of the opportunities like NBFCs and banks. I am saying that there is a bigger market available. Why are you looking at NBFCs and banks, which is high risk industry? If you give me a choice, I will never do those audits. Because all the problems arise there only. Every bank there is a gafla. Most NBFCs have a problem. Why you want a high risk audit? I will do the minimal what is required there. Zubin Bilmoria is here, you can subscribe to that. So what I am saying is, and you have bigger market available. All the other industries don't have that restriction. Now, if let's hypothetically say joint audit rules come similar to RBI rules, then networking will be a problem. But I don't think that will succeed, because then government itself is killing Prime Minister's vision to say I need to have a Indian Big Four. Prime Minister is saying I will have Indian Big Four, no?
we have SME firms.
Yeah.
We significant revenue from bank audits.
Yeah,
Branch audits.
yeah,
That's a significant revenue for us.
yeah. But here, no. I'm saying that people have to look at the opportunities available. If you're trying to live to the legacy, you will also become a history. You look at the opportunities which are coming up. No, so many joint audits will open up. Other clients will open up which you have never had the capacity to bid earlier. All those things come up. No? Look at the potential which opening rather than sticking on to the legacy. If people want to stick on to the legacy, definitely don't come to the network. That is what I'm saying. I'm saying that people, you look at the conditions I have put for the network. I've clearly articulated. I say that people should look forward. What opportunities it provides, and you should be willing to take the risk. If that is there, definitely this network will succeed. But if you all want to stick to the legacy, then nothing will succeed. You will live there only. You will never get the new client. You will never get the win in the joint audit. So there is no hope.
So second thing, with regard to this particular module of audit, is
Yeah.
it cloud-based software?
It will be cloud-based, yeah.
Okay. And the payment is per user.
So currently the pricing we have not decided, but there will be two models of pricing. For the small and medium clients, we will be charging per user because we want to support that particular practice. But for the large clients, which is the public industry clients, it will be per engagement because it is going to be heavy on content, and if you do the audit properly as per the tool, you are literally saved from all the risks. So it's a huge advantage, and therefore that will be a per engagement fee. That will be slightly at a premium only, because that content is the firm's intellectual property, and we take a lot of pride in that.
And the sharing of data with the client, everything can be done within the software.
Within the software, yeah.
Communication, interaction.
Everything can be done in the client, yeah.
Checklist documentation as per the standard.
Yeah, everything is there.
You can set the privileges of view, edit to the respective users. That's all in your firm's control. T&F will has no.
T&F will only onboard the audit firm. After that, we stop. Yeah, thank you. Just look at our website for the expression of interest on the networking. Then we'll
If
take
you want
it.
to leave your card and your expression of your
I have given my card instruction, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
Wonderful. Catch up.
Sure. Yeah, we'll be in touch.